ripping live till there's no more left in me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep ripping live till there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. DC, that B4L, reppin' that star, I do it so well. It's Puma on the toes, but the stars on the clothes. I'm Starboy, fresh at the DF Dub. Yeah, I'm a hard hitter. Don't stare to fit, it'll ego hit you. What is you saying, man? Look at the swag. Please do forgive the brag. I'ma pull up later in the Cowboy Jag. Don't you slip on the drip, I'm flossing the sauce. Go so hard for the star. Yeah, that be win, lose, or draw. If you take a L, get the F off my block. Cowboys win. Watch yours, pull up the shots. Really can't help it, got a star status. Even got it tatted on my arm. Yes, we be 5 ring strong. Left a little room cause it's quest for the six. Starboy really reppin' this shit. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep rippin' live until there's no more left in me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep rippin' loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me.
Yeah, tell me who the #1 fan. Yeah, Mr. Westside, I'm the man. Dallas Cowboys from my head to the toes. They better recognize who the fuck I am. Damn, haters run their mouth like a bitch when they team ain't shit and my team stay lit. Yeah, I'm about to rep this shit to the day I die in an all blue casket. If you wanna get with a club with love, tell Star Status Westside sent ya. Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. Emmett Smith is our main. Game time, prime time, all the time. Your team ain't never on TV like mine. That's because we different. We America's team and we run this. Like Zeke runs circles right at defense. Jerry Jones, that's nonsense. Let the coaches coach. And I'll have a smoke. And I know y'all wanna toast to that.
Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep rippin' live until there's no more left in me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep rippin' live until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. Reppin' that star, I do it so well. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. Reppin' that star, I do it so well.
What's up with you guys? It's your boy West Coast. Yo, in 2020, I've teamed up with my hot boy, Jalen Smith, number 54, to bring you guys some of the most exclusive eyewear known to man. CEV. I mean, everybody's wearing them. Make sure you guys go over to CEVcollection.com today and use promo code CEV West Coast to get yourself a hot boy discount today. What's up with you guys? It is your boy West Coast, and we live in the building, man. And we are here, man. We're here. We're here for the Fantasy Hour, which will actually be the Fantasy 40 minutes. Why? Because we had to do 20 minutes of technical stuff. But you know what I love about technical stuff? You get it done at the beginning so you ain't got to worry about it for the rest of the season. That's why they have training camp at the beginning and not during season. So we had our 20-minute training camp, man, and we are here. It's our season. We ready to rip. We ready to rock, man. I got two guys here that know fantasy football, man. And not only do they know fantasy football, but they know football, man. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are going to be in great hands. I am your boy West Coast. I'm going to host this thing. We're going to get this thing popping, man. Instead of me introducing, man, I'm going to let them introduce yourselves. I know you already know Coach Higgs, man. So I want to know who this new face is, man. What's up with you, man?
What's going on, man?
Shoot,
My name's Brent. Go by Fantasy Football Grinder. This is what I've been doing for a long time. I was actually on with West Coast the other day talking a little bit, but this is what I do, man. This is pretty much my, this is my routine every day. I do fantasy football. It's what I enjoy, and it's a good break away from everything else.
I heard that. And hey, man, you know the guy, man, who makes my hairline look bad because his is so straight. Coach Higgs, what's up with you, man? Hey, man.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be with you again, West Coast. Good to have you, Brent. Let's get rocking and rolling, talking some football, and get ready tonight.
Shoot, I heard that, man. Hey, man, so since this is a fantasy football show, like kind of like and fantasy football is cool because we're going to talk about Cowboys, obviously, because you got some Cowboy fans on here, so we're going to talk about Cowboy relevancy. So obviously that's going to be something we're going to talk about. But every time we jump on a fantasy show or something like that, we're going to talk about what's going on in the NFL because there's always stuff that goes on in the NFL, I feel, that has an effect on everything. It's kind of like that. What is that theory they say? It's like the butterfly. If a butterfly poot in the forest, then it changed the wind, and then the wind turned, and now it's a whole monsoon in Mexico or somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I forget what that is called, but it's like the butterfly effect. So we're going to start off tonight with some just kind of like some what's going on in the NFL. And I think the biggest thing that happened in the NFL, I mean, just saved our lives because it was getting really kind of boring around here. Cam Newton saved the world by signing with the New England Patriots, man, and gave us all something to talk about outside of why Dak Prescott signed the franchise tag. So we're going to talk about that for a couple minutes, man. And I want to know, man, we're here from a fantasy standpoint. We're going to know just what was y'all thoughts just from a football perspective, and then I want to know from each one of you guys from a fantasy point. You know, I know it is June 30th, so it's kind of hard to talk about fantasy in June. But I want to know, man, what are your thoughts on Cam Newton and signing with the New England Patriots, and what is he going to do for them fantasy-wise? We'll start with you, Brent. Go ahead.
I think that with Cam, for me, I thought last year, as you kind of watch the season progress, you seen N'Keal Harry come back a little bit, start coming to form some. And with him being a second-year guy, I tend to like second-year receivers. And the thing I like about N'Keal Harry is not that I think that he's going to come out and be like this monster. I just think that where you get him in fantasy drafts, so you're going to get him well late into the draft, unless he starts rising up. If he gets above round 10 in fantasy drafts, then as far as right now, he's the best guy to go target because with Cam, if he's healthy, every year that he's healthy, he's a top 5 quarterback. Every year he's healthy. He's never been outside of the top 5 as when he was healthy. Okay. So I like getting N'Keal Harry with Cam. I really like that, and it helps James White's stock go up a little bit too.
Shoot, hey man, Coach, I want to know, because Cam Newton, to be in fantasy, you gotta run the ball a little bit, you gotta throw the ball a little bit. I want to know, like, how does these because you the wide receiver, good, you running down the line. Hey man, I'm gonna tell y'all a story, man. This is not racial, this is real. Hey, in every hood in America, there's this one white guy that's just like really, really fast. I say this all the time. Coach Higgs, that dude, man, like he just really, really fast, like just gone. So I want to know, how does Cam Newton, how does he affect these wide receivers from a fantasy point also, and maybe even the running back, the 2 running back system that they're running over there?
Well, first off, I hate to, put salt in the wound, so to speak, but if you go back to our draft shows, prior, I did say that Belichick, may or may not pick up Cam Newton.
Yeah, we was thinking that week, actually. We was thinking that week. We was thinking.
Yes, and it came late, but I mean, come on now. That's what makes Belichick.
Yeah. Somebody, I got a little.
100%. And he, he always goes out on a limb and tries to get, some of those, those value picks, so to speak, and making some money. He's a good businessman. But where I'm going to go with this, and to answer your question is, let's just say this. As Brent said, he is very, very valuable when healthy. And I think that's kind of like the issue right now is people in the NFL and GMs and all the personnel were wondering, is Cam Newton healthy? But if he is healthy, I mean, that's like having a running back there that can toss the ball, that can run over people. And when that happens, you got to put safeties in the box. You got to account a spy for him in coverage. And when you account somebody for a quarterback, that gets other people open. So let's just be real. The Patriots last year, when they lost, the AB, and they had some other wide receivers that, had to make some plays. And now let's look at it. I mean, I lost potentially one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Bill Belichick did one of the sneakiest, slyest, smartest things they could do. And if you think about it, he's not really taking a chance, because this is the NFL. I mean, you can get cut. You've got to produce. But if Brent is correct and that man can run and is healthy and he goes up to New England, man, that turns around a whole lot of things, and definitely the world of fantasy football. So he can really help out the two running backs. He can really help out, the wide receivers. And, it's just going to be something to see. And I'm always going to root for the player. So I want to see, Cam do really well. And going back to that, I don't have to be the fast white guy, man. I'm just a fast guy. So
Hey, no. You got to put that emphasis on there, because it just like when that fast white guy run past you, he looks super more fast, because your coach gonna point that out. Like, man, you let that dude catch you. But hey, just to even tap that off, man, because you had a strong point, man, when you said, Brent, you said about him being a top 5 quarterback, and I wanted to kind of like mesh that in to kind of like what Coach was saying too. Like, think about this. Like, imagine if he gets like even a top 10 quarterback for $5 million more than what the Saints paid Teddy Bridgewater for like 4 games or 6 games, whatever Teddy. You know what I'm saying? Teddy got paid like $7 million last year to be a backup in New Orleans. And they get a starter for 16. Now, people always tell me, Cam, he has an injury history. I don't really think he has an injury history. I think Cam is kind of like Dez. Dez was never injury prone until he got injured. And then he was injury for like 2 years, and then he kind of was like, okay, coming back. And that's how I feel like Cam. If you go through Cam's history, he's not one, in my opinion, to stay hurt. Like, he's always been athletic. And one thing I love about Cam Newton too is, if y'all remember, there was even a time where his coach went to the NFL and was saying, hey man, they hitting my quarterback way too hard. They hitting him way too many times. And he still made it through that season. You know what I'm saying? It was the next season where he actually got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Cam Newton's also the only person I've ever seen to get in a major car accident. Y'all remember when he flipped that black truck on the freeway, came back and played the same week. Like, I was like, wow.
Hey, by the way, West Coast, didn't he throw for over 40 touchdowns and less than 10 picks in that same
same season? And that's what I'm saying. And I want to ask you guys this, like, I want to put y'all on. I'm gonna put y'all on the map right now. I want to know, man. Right now, on June 30th, 2020, who is the better quarterback? Tom Brady or Cam Newton? Right now, today, I don't give a dang about their career.
Go ahead, Brent.
I would still say, I would still give it to Brady as far as, I don't know, not by much. Brady's managed to stay healthy. So that's the big thing for me, especially if you're looking things from, a fantasy aspect. When I look at a player, I'm looking at how long can this player stay on my roster and not be, I want to make sure that player is not going to be on the sidelines. So as far as that goes, Brady's the guy that is consistent. And so that's great, but as far as talent, I believe Cam has the better talent. And why I say that is Cam's never had that stud wide receiver. So that's why I'm bringing in N'Keal Harry when I talk about him, because I really think with a guy like N'Keal Harry, Cam could show out, man. And there's nothing more Patriots than for Cam to go off this year. Like, that's typical Belichick and the Patriots.
Fact. Like a big FU to the NFL. A big FU to the NFL. Go ahead, Coach. Go ahead.
I gotta come from the coaching perspective, and right now this is a what have you done for me lately league. So, with that being said, just because of where and what and how what ended last year in the NFL, if you said today who is the best quarterback,
better.
Well, correct. Today it would be Tom Brady. Okay. However, However, Tom Brady 100%, and we cannot deny, is on the decline.
Fact.
The only issue with Cam Newton is the unknown, meaning if or how healthy is he? So if he is healthy, right? And let's just say that Bill Belichick, and we know this time and time before, has hit on guys that have tried to resurrect their career or got them cheap. Let's just say that he doesn't do that right now. And he
Matt
goes out
Castle. Matt Castle.
Yeah.
Matt Castle won them 10 games. Couldn't win us 3. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, this is the thing. Can you imagine if Cam Newton didn't have it on his back and he's a game manager? Tom Brady had it on his back. That defense in New England, they're going to win with that defense. They're going to win with a running back by committee. They're going to win with team offense. And I got to tell you, if Cam Newton goes up there and his shoulder is perfect and he's got just some fresh legs, forget about good legs, he's got fresh legs. Man, I got to tell you, Cam Newton will be the best quarterback after 8 games.
You will. And I'm going to tell you the thing, and you know why I asked you guys that question? Because I was actually setting you guys up. You want to tell you how I set you up? Because neither one of you guys could clearly be like, oh, no, that's Cam. Oh, no, that's Brady. Oh, no. You see how each one of you guys was like, now I want to ask you guys a question, right? Tom wanted what? He got, 25 over there, 20, 24 million? Somebody put it in the comment box exactly how much Tom got to go be the quarterback. 30? He got the 30 banger? Hey, but think
30.
about this. Is that the difference between $23 million? Like, is there really a difference between is the difference between Tom Brady and Cam Newton $23 million? I don't think so. So it's like, bruh, Cam Newton don't even got to be better than Tom. Okay? He can just be just as good as Tom, and if all the other pieces are just as good, bruh, they play in a division where Cam Newton is right now the best quarterback in their division. Like you have Donald. I think he's better than him up in the Jets, right? You got the kid over there in Buffalo. Maybe. What do you think about the kid over there in Buffalo against Cam? And then you got the kid in Miami, Tua. I mean, maybe one day, but I'm saying here June 30th. So think about this. Brady, with his old sneaky self, figured out a way to guarantee to get himself the infamous home playoff game. Like, bro, the every season starts off with 2 things: getting through training camp healthy, win your division. Because if you get in your division, no matter who your quarterback is, you're playing at home. And my thing is this: I'm gonna ask y'all another question. Is Cam Newton good enough, you think, to win that division?
Well, come on now. You already talked about who's in the division.
Boom. Brady won. Bill
got-
Belichick got us again. He got us again.
I'll do it for you right there. I'll just say yes and not dodge the question. You got a guy that's developing, like you said, in Buffalo, needs to do better. I'm not going to say he didn't choke. You know, we all make mistakes, but he didn't come through in the clutch. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
Right. And then let's look at what's happened in Miami. Right. In Miami, of course, you've got a guy that can play and has done well, but they didn't draft a quarterback because they wanted him to be the future.
Fact.
We don't know what's going to happen there. And in New England, I mean, they've been in turmoil, or excuse me, not New England. In New York, they've been in turmoil. And Sam Darnold, yeah, I 100% think he's going to be amazing. Going to be. So Cam already has been and can be, and now is in a system. So it is the perfect situation for New England. It's the perfect situation for Cam Newton. And it's the perfect situation for us to talk about it right now, because that's what makes Belichick so great. Because I'm going to get to the end of this and say this. When you do something right and you do it in the NFL, you do it for a financial reason.
Fact.
And that was a very good bang for the buck, was it not?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And think about this. And think about this, man. Think about this, Coach. From there, before we switch to our next subject, you know what's funny? If you look at Belichick's, like, all his movements, bro, he was planning this. I think this was more him not signing Cam. Him signing Cam right now was, I think, more about weighting him down. than anything. Because, bro, Coach, I was on a draft show with you for 3 days. 4 hours, 5 hours at it. We did, what was it, like 17 hours in 3 days?
Yeah.
And every draft pick, no consideration for a quarterback, no consideration for a quarterback, no consideration. Like, oh, no, we don't need those quarterbacks. We don't play with those. Then all of a sudden, literally, 30 days before opening training camp, when you know someone's going to be most desperate. And I'm going to tell you this right now, the NFL is not in a place where everybody is looking for a quarterback, man. I actually kind of was talking to my group, and I was like, man, if you think about it, everybody really has a quarterback right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah. In West Coast, come on now, man. We're not that smart. If we can sit there and I can tell you that he's looking to get a veteran, right? And I'll be real. I was talking about Andy Dalton at the time. And what did he do? He was even smarter.
Yeah, he
was.
Let
the first guy get signed.
Yep.
So let's go here. Let's just say right now, if Dallas signed Cam Newton, let's just say that happened instead of Andy Dalton. Right now, we'd be talking about Andy Dalton in New England, and it'd probably be the same conversation.
Yep.
Right? So, yeah, man, it's just interesting, and it's very smart. But to give you an idea, man, he's 2 years at $50 million. And I said 30 million because he's got another 9 million in incentives.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 59 million. I mean, I'm not a math guy here, but we're really close to 60 million.
Yeah, it is.
So I said 30 million, but he's guaranteed 25 a year.
Oh man, I thought you was gonna hit us with a boom bam or something. Okay, yes.
No, I'm just saying, man. I mean,
I thought he was about to hit us with a boom bam.
Well, listen. There's been some postings about the contract of Cam Newton, right?
Yeah.
The player is worth what someone is willing to pay.
Yeah, some guy said that. I remember that.
Right? So his agent was getting out there trying to get him signed.
Yep.
But let me tell you this, right? Let's say that I'm sitting here and I'm trying to get signed.
Yep.
And I think I'm worth, I don't care what it is, just use 10 million because it's easy math. And nobody's giving me 10 million, right? And I'm not playing unless I get 10 million. But there's this thing called the Super Bowl that I really want to play for and I want to win.
Yep.
Because I was one time there and I didn't make, maybe the necessary plays in an MVP year. And all of a sudden, my phone rings. And I say, hello. And it's Bill Belichick.
Yep.
And he says, hey, listen, man, I know what you're worth, but you know how this is right now. I'm calling you right now because I don't want to insult you, but I think I can help you. I'm going to make you compete. But if you compete the way that I know you can, and if you are healthy, if you are, and you come out here and show out, Cam, you think we'll be in the Super Bowl?
In the AFC?
And here's what I'm going to pay you.
Yeah.
It's only going to be X. But you be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? Like, so if I'm Cam, you going to say no?
Yeah. And think about this, Coach. You ask him, and think about this. You tell him, hey, man, you got to be either Patrick or Lamar. You know what I'm saying? You got to be one of them. That's it. That's all we need. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to go through the NFC and everybody's defense. See, this is the thing that people don't understand. You know what I'm saying? See, we all NFC, even though, one of us play for the other team. You know what I'm saying? Coach, he on the Redskin fan. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, even he know, even when we play them, man, everybody got a defense in the NFC. Everybody. Like, even the teams that suck in the NFC, Coach, we ain't talking about your team. But even the teams that ain't good in the NFC, like, even the teams that aren't good in the NFC, play some damn good defense. So it's like, Cam, you don't got to deal with that no more. Like, imagine having Ryan, Breeze, all in your same division. You got to beat them dudes to just get in the playoffs. Look, just beat Lamar or Pat one time and you'll probably get into the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? I love the scenario. Hey, man, I want to talk about, before we get out of here, man, I want to talk about another team that we feel is destined for a Super Bowl. And we want to talk about the fantasy implications, man, of that team that's wearing the star on their helmet, man. God damn, would you? Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, slap yourself when I said another team that's headed to the Super Bowl. If you did not think of your own team, slap yourself right now. If you did, you're a real goddamn Cowboy fan. Hey, man, and I want to give out some real shout-outs real quick. Shout out to some folks in the comment box. I see you, Whitney. Appreciate you for your comments. Brian, I see you. Rose, I see you. Who else I see up here? Marcus, I appreciate you for showing this on your Facebook. Joseph Jones, I appreciate you. William DeMonk, I appreciate you. And Deshaun and OG Deshaun, I appreciate you too, bros. All right, so let's talk about these Cowboys for a little bit, man. Let's talk about these Cowboys, and let's talk about the fantasy implications, possibilities for these Dallas Cowboys, man. And what players do you guys think are going to be some guys that we should take a look at? I think the number one guy that everybody wants to talk about first, and we're just about to skip everybody, and we're going to go straight to CeeDee Lamb. And I want to know, man,
Coach,
what do y'all thought? Yeah, man. Hey, and I'm going to give Coach a shout-out because he did call that, man. He called that about a month before we went to the draft. We were on this binge where we were going live every single day up to the draft. And he called that. 100%. He actually called two people that's on our squad, him and the Parker kid. But I mean, my thing is this, Coach, you're a wide receiver coach. So I mean, if a mechanic looks at my car from the sun and say, yeah, that don't sound right, I mean, you called it, but that's kind of your job, Coach.
okay, but how about calling this?
I'm just playing with you, Coach.
Coast, right? Is it really a call where I see all these fantasy gurus talking about where CeeDee Lamb is going to be a sleeper pick? Sleeper pick? What?
They didn't watch film, though.
Come on now.
They didn't watch film.
I have the number one receiver in the draft.
Somebody told me he was slow today. You know what I'm saying? I argued with somebody, and then I stopped, and I was like, wait, time out. West Coast, you said you're not doing this in 2020. You said you're not arguing. Stupid. You're not doing it. You said you weren't going to do it because it's worse for you than the person that's receiving it. Let it go. I said, you know what, bro? If he's slow, I want to be slow. That's just what it is. That's where I'm at now.
You remember Chris Carter?
Yes.
Remember Chris Carter, right?
Yes, he wasn't real fast.
Oh, no, he was slow. Remember Jerry Rice?
Yeah, he wasn't. Oh, my God.
Jerry Rice ran like 3 or 4 tenths slower than me. Yeah, he was pretty good.
He also dropped a lot of footballs, too.
Oh, yeah, right. But
slow receiver dropped a lot of footballs.
CeeDee Lamb is going to be slow to an MVP offensive candidate. That's what he's going to be, slow to that.
Yeah. I mean,
as a rookie. I don't mean offense. I mean rookie of the year offense.
That's the other thing too. Like whenever you break it down, like I've seen a lot of people that talk, about the Dak contract. When you start breaking that down, if you go look at anybody's fantasy board, Dak is going to be in the number one tier of quarterbacks, no matter what, because the man goes and throws for over 4,000 yards. Mm-hmm. He can run the ball. I mean, what else do you want? And then you go throw CeeDee Lamb on top of there. And, if he's going to throw the ball for over 4,000 yards, it's not going to the running backs more than likely. Fact. It's going to go to who? CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper.
Exactly.
And so something else too, Brent?
Huh?
Go ahead, Coach.
I agree with you. The only thing that will hurt Dak Prescott, because we already know if he has to stick on that franchise, right, he's betting on himself, so he's going to ball out. We know that. The only thing that will hurt, right, that situation, and I hate to say it, and it hurts everybody, is the COVID-19, because with that, it's had with a new coach in the offseason and a new, way of doing things, that's going to slow some things down. So I could see him doing all the things that you talk about 100%. I have confidence in Dak, no doubt. I just think it could, and hopefully it doesn't, it could take a little bit more time to show through because of that whole situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, you're right, Miss Rose. I did not say to see them. I said I was being facetious, y'all. I was being facetious. Just a clarification. I was saying if CeeDee Lamb is slow, then I want to be slow, because at the end of the day, you win games off of touchdowns, right? Like, think about this, right? The Dallas Cowboys had the number 2 offense in the NFL, right? And we did not go to the playoffs. You want to know why? Because we did not have the number 1 scoring offense. At right now where I'm at, I will actually take 600 yards and 7 to 9 touchdowns from CeeDee Lamb. I will perfectly be okay. That youngster, I know a youngster right now in Kansas City who did the exact same thing, gave his team 600 yards and like 7 touchdowns, and them dudes won a Super Bowl. And you know what I'm saying? I can't. His name goes off the top of my head, but y'all know who, Coach. Fill it in for me if you got the name. But yeah.
Wait a minute. You talking about receivers?
Yeah, receivers. The youngster from Kansas City that got drafted. I think he was in the second round.
Hardman? Are you talking
Hardman?
about?
Yes.
Nicole Hardman?
Yes.
I mean,
if CeeDee Lamb can have that type of production in his rookie year, I'm fine, bruh.
Listen.
I'm fine. Or even the kid from Washington.
Everything but dropping the football that kid can do because it's going to come his way. He's going to make plays. And I mean, come on. Is your receiving core better? It is.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. So that means it's better for Dak. And guess who else it's better for?
Shoot, Zeke, everybody.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Because now, guess what? You try to load up the box and stop Zeke, you got man coverage. And last I checked, if you double team somebody like Amari and you put somebody in the slot, I don't care, even if it was Michael Gallup, it's going to create a matchup. It's probably going to be CD, but it's going to create a matchup.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why I put Zeke at number 1 this year in my rankings personally, because there's not, I mean, I didn't like that the offensive line was starting to lose some, but then once you add CeeDee Lamb, you add another layer to that team. And once you add that layer, I mean, your lanes are open up for Zeke that a lot of people don't realize yet, just by having Gallup, Cooper and Lamb out there. You're going to have so many lanes open for Zeke. It'll be unreal. Like Zeke will just be like, it's just free yardage for him. You can't put 2 people on Zeke anymore. There's no way.
Yeah, and my boy Rodney OG says Hartman from Georgia. He also kick returner for the Chiefs. Yeah, man, he's a beast. The 2 young receivers that I really, really like is the Hartman kid and then Yo kid that y'all have right now in Washington. And I like him. He's nasty.
Terry.
Yes, man, he's nasty.
Terry.
And I'm hoping that we get a guy like that plays with his attitude. Like I feel like Terry get into it with his baby mama before every game because he just play angry. Like you can feel it in his. He doesn't have that I'm a young player swag. He has that I'm a you know what I'm saying, like I'm trying to eat swag, and I like that in my receivers. You know what I'm saying? I like Michael Gallup, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I love my Amari Cooper, but they not really like that. You know what I'm saying? They're more, and I'm not saying you can't be, one of the greatest to do it, because Hopkins is not a really outspoken guy. He's not a really swagged out guy. You know what I'm saying? But I think we have too many guys that are like that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, as much as people didn't like Dez, or some fans say, I didn't like, he used to burst out and stuff. Everybody that plays with Dez loved him. Why? Because them outbursts and that energy, sometimes it's going to get you to go faster. It may not get me to go faster, but sometimes it might get you to go faster. So I like that in my wide receivers. But, go ahead. I want to know these rankings real quick, man. And then I also have a question. Because of CeeDee Lamb and because of the explosiveness or the chance of this offense could be, do you think Dak Prescott goes up in rankings now because of a CeeDee Lamb drafting? And I throw that to either one of you guys.
I think Dak, if you really look at it, Dak was already up there with Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, and as far as your mainstream guys go, he was already up there, and that's due to the fact that he's a dual threat quarterback, and I think he stays about where he's at. He was already in the top 3 to 5 people as far as quarterbacks go, and just about any rankings, and that's why I couldn't understand why a lot of fans were so aggravated with Dak wanting him his money. I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, man, even fantasy fans are sitting there saying this man is a top 3 quarterback. I mean, he's going to produce. So that's where I think he's where he needs to be. He needs to be a 3 through 5. That's where you want to get him.
Okay, Coach, what's your thoughts, Coach?
Yeah, what's funny? I mean, I'm just going to say, if you have a chance to get somebody that's got the same offense, the same coordinator, that's an upper tier in the beginning, then that's probably the best, most risk and reward pick, right? But if you've got Dak as your backup, he's going to be your starter, after a certain period of time. And it's because of Zeke, and it's because of having CD.
Good point. You
know what I mean? So, I go into it. I'm a football fan. I'm a realist. And I'm just something about this, because right now, let's say it, like, Dak is playing with the chip, right? Dak is playing with a chip.
Yeah.
And when you got a guy playing with a chip, and I'm going back to when you talked about Dez, right? When someone's got that dog in them, right? And they're just going to show up, and they are going to be just not denied. That's what Dak is going into right now. So he's going to spread the ball around. It's going to help the offense, of course. And like I said, man, when you're talking about, weeks maybe 4 and on, that's when that pick of Dak and of course CD is going to really come to its real value. So that's where I stand on it. But yeah, man, it's going to be something to see because not only from a fantasy perspective, but just from a football perspective.
Yeah, man. Hey, so I got Zeke up here right now, and I think one of the pressing questions that a lot of people want to know is, is Zeke gonna be, on your board and wherever you guys are picking up a running back is Zeke gonna be your first running back coming off the board? Especially with Christian McCaffrey basically being a fantasy football like everything you can ever dream in a fantasy football person. Like, I think Christian McCaffrey knew that what he was doing last year or something. You know what I'm saying? Because he was everything you would dream for in a fantasy football player. Are you still taking who are you taking at your first running back?
Zeke.
You want to go ahead, Brent?
Yeah, and I say Zeke because it's the same reason when we were talking about Cam and them earlier. So when I focus on my fantasy team, I don't want to go draft a guy that is possibly going to get hurt. I don't think McCaffrey had shown any signs of digression or anything like that. But the thing is, with Zeke, I know every week I'm going to get 20 points. Every week I know I'm going to get 20 points no matter what. It doesn't take much for Zeke. Like, Zeke will get you points in his sleep. And every year I follow the same thing, even through suspensions. I will get Zeke, and Zeke will carry me through weeks when these other guys, a lot of guys you're drafting in 5th through 16th rounds in drafts. These are boom or bust candidates a lot of the time, and you get there, you have Zeke, where you're gonna get your both points there. So I've always been a bigger fan of Zeke. I drafted him 2nd round his rookie year, and it doesn't have anything to do with being a Cowboys fan. It has everything to do with the talent that's there, and that's where I stand with it. In a PPR league is another story. Maybe you went McCaffrey, but I don't know how much I trust McCaffrey to keep up that pace.
To do that 2 years in a row?
That was a ridiculous workload last year, and I don't know that you continuously do that without getting hurt.
Hey, and also think about this too. I'm gonna take it back before I shoot it to you, Coach. That was also in a losing season. So you'd be amazed at how many guys have rushed for 2,000 yards in a losing season. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you ain't got nothing to play for, you know what you do? You keep giving it to the guy who's putting butts in the sands. So it's like, this year is going to be different. Why? Because I think Carolina's going to actually be trying to win some games. So they may not just hand him the ball off. You're down by 12 and you're still giving him the ball. Like, you're still handing. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying?
They got receivers too.
So, Coach, go ahead. Your thoughts, Coach.
To add to that, and I got to bring it in. That's why I'm here.
Bring it in, God dang it.
Let's bring that coaching perspective in. So right now in Carolina, okay, you have some change, right? We got a new head coach. We got, some new offense. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to say that Christian's going to get his touches. But I'm going to bring somebody up that didn't have a lot of changes, and I'm actually going to bring up Alvin Kamara in a PPR league. But going back to your standard leagues, I'm going to go back to the experienced quarterback. Even though there's the change in offense, then I will go with Zeke in your standard leagues because it doesn't matter whether it's PPR or not. He's going to produce. He's got Dak. He's got a supporting cast. And even though they have a new offense, he is getting the rock regardless. So it's going to make the value, right. It's going to make the value of him higher later in the year. But even in the beginning in a standard league, he's going to be able to come to fruition and get that value for you. Where Kamara, I'm actually going to put Kamara ahead of Christian McCaffrey just because Drew Brees is there and they've had that change. Now, midway through the year, if you're in a PPR league and maybe, quarterback position of Carolina is doing well, then maybe Christians have got a little bit more value then. But in the beginning of the year, I'm going to go with Kamara. And then, like I said, standard leagues, it'll be Zeke.
Okay. Hey, man, listen, while we all sliding down the road, man, I need to know, man, you're at your point right now. You're picking, we're picking your wide receiver at whatever round this is. You're about to pick your wide receiver now. I remember last year I was on the show, man, and somebody asked me like, yo, man, are you going to pick? I'm picking a Murray Cooper first round. I'm picking a Murray Cooper. I'm going to do. And he says, give me a steal. And I said, well, I don't think if it's going to be a steal, but I feel like this guy, Michael Gallup, that, I feel like he's going to have the same amount of stats and yards as Amari Cooper. Why? Because of the type of quarterback we have. Dak don't show favorites. You know what I'm saying? But that was before Amari Cooper was making $20 million. So now that he's making $20 million and Dak is going to be making $31 million, so he understands the importance of being paid and working for your money and, and showing, getting that contract and showing and reciprocating that through your play. And I also think that, this new offensive coordinator is going to want to make sure that this guy, Amari Cooper, gets that ball. You know what I'm saying? I want to know, where are you drafting Amari Cooper at as your wide receiver? Like, where is he falling? Where is he at on your wide receiver board?
Go ahead, Brent.
Here's the deal with Cooper. If I'm drafting Cooper, probably going to be third round. I'm probably going to grab 2 solid running backs and then go Cooper. But the thing is, right now, the way that everything's kind of designed, what I've been doing personally, if I'm going to get a receiver early, I typically grab my receiver like a Tyreek Hill in the first round, which would be normally towards the end. You'd be a late round pick. Then grab Josh Jacobs, and then I just slam out running backs for 2 rounds. Because if you don't, the only problem with Amari Cooper is not that Amari Cooper is a bad receiver, it's where he's getting drafted on draft boards. If Amari Cooper fell to me after I had 3 running backs, that's another story.
Hell yeah.
But running backs are so slim whenever you're talking fantasy draft boards that it's tough to grab that receiver where he should be grabbed. And Amari Cooper should be a 3rd round receiver. He's proved his worth. That's where he belongs, and maybe higher on some people's boards. That's where I would reasonably pick Amari Cooper.
Let me hear some, Coach.
That's not bad. I mean, I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to, again, throw the coaching perspective in here. Those hamstring guys worry me right now with this whole thing that's happened. So
you and them damn
like
hamstrings.
Hill, say it again.
You and them damn hamstrings. You always bring them hamstrings around this time.
Well, I mean, it makes guys like, Tyreek Hill, because we haven't been able to get as much work in. And I know from a coaching perspective that those track guys, world-class speed dudes, right?
Quick twitchers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like Tyreek Hill. I mean, he was my find when nobody wanted him a couple years ago, and I had him. He took me high, deep. But I'm going to go with somebody like Michael Thomas, as an early guy. Again, Drew Brees helps. Change of offense, not much there. Kamara's going to help him. The whole offense obviously has been pretty much intact. So I'm going to say Cooper. CD helps him. Zeke helps him. He's going to be somebody who's going to produce year in and year out, week in and week out. I just don't see him in the upper tier. But I do see him, again, like I said, later in the season, after week 6, 7, 8, he's going to be up in there. So if you can get him at a good value because a Michael Thomas is gone, or maybe somebody took a Tyreek Hill, or some of these other guys that, like the sexy pick, Amari's going to ball out for you. He's going to. And again, when you have Dak and his betting on himself year, it's going to come to fruition. So I don't have him as a top 1 or 2, but he's somebody actually, well, I don't want to call him a sleeper, but he's somebody that could go ahead and say, wow, man, this guy is, really producing, especially again, PPR league, he's going to get the rock, so he'll make some plays down the field. You could say a Devontae Adams might be considered in that class, but then again, it's pick your poison. You got to look at the draft picks, look at the matchups according to the other guys you had. And one final point, I think the running back position, if you're in leagues where you can get an extra running back, you get that flex player or extra receiver, so to speak, you got to be really smart with that pick and look at, which guys do I have that are in the right offense, that may not be that fast twitch guy, or if I do get an injury, do I have somebody where I can play that next receiver, that next running back? And Amari Cooper fits well in both those scenarios, which moves him higher up on the board.
Yeah, that's why if you miss your running backs are extremely important for fantasy, because if you really think about it right now at the top of your head, you got a league, okay? You're in a league of 10 teams. Name 15 running backs that are not in committees right now. And when you start thinking about that, you start saying, man, so that's not even 1.5 running backs per fantasy team in this league. Now, how am I going to get 3 running backs that are not in committees?
Wow, that's a good point.
So if you don't go off the board and just slam running back after running back, you really will end up in a bind with running back. And that's why I'm okay, but getting going, I'll get a CD Lamb. I'll get somebody like that in the 4th or the 5th. And I'm just going to grab as many running backs as I can that are not in committees before everybody else starts going for them. And so a lot of times you're going to lose Cooper. You're going to lose some of the receivers. And I'm okay with that loss as long as I could find somebody like that. You know, if I could find like a Deontay Johnson from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deontay Johnson's a guy that was nobody, a lot of people don't even know who he is. But if you played fantasy, you know who he is because he averaged almost 15 points a week when he played last year. So that's what, if you go all running back, you can destroy leagues. And there's a lot of stuff like we could talk about each week about this, but there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of potential with going at heavy running back.
Shoot, man. Hey, I know. We said a lot of stuff. We talked about a lot of people, a lot of receivers. I know one name we didn't bring up at all was Michael Gallup, man. Has Michael Gallup become undraftable in 2020 with the addition of CD Lamb? Go, Coach, I want to hear you first. What are your thoughts?
And that's an interesting one. Well,
because he's already a number 2.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Right? Here's the thing with Michael Gallup.
And I also got a piggyback question for you, Coach. So answer this, and then I got a piggyback.
And let's just be real, right? He's got to be consistent. He's got to make plays. And we can't be talking about, he's in his 1st or 2nd year now, and
third.
He's going to
third.
Third. That's why I said he's not in his 1st.
He ain't no baby no more, Coach. Nah, he ain't even on breast milk no more. He ain't no baby.
Time to produce.
Yeah,
it is time to produce. But one thing that we can say about Michael Gallup, right? He gets down the field too.
He does.
He can get down the field.
He does.
So, yes, he does. So if you're going to put your number 1 on Amari, and whether you double him or not, and give some help over there with a safety, Michael Gallup has to get the matchup and be able to beat the number 2 DB regardless. He has to do that. So if he does that, right, and I feel he can, it's not about beating him. It's about finishing the play.
Yeah.
So as we get close down, probably
11
30-yard
drops.
line. Yep. Michael Gallup's got to come through, but he's another guy, depending on, and let's just be real. CD is in his 1st year. He's going to make plays, right? But from a coaching perspective, you also got to get your money's worth. So I think the ball is going to come to Michael Gallup and give him that opportunity. And then early on, it's going to come down to, all right, if he's producing, we stay with a hot hand, we keep it going. If he's not producing, CD, man, we might have to put you outside a little bit. Maybe we have to shake it up a little bit. So it's nothing but positive for that team, and competition is always a good thing. Competition makes, the cream of the crop, rise, so to speak. Again, I'm with Michael Gallup. I think that he's ready that competition is going to help him. He's ready to do something. And listen, Dak is going to keep him in check. Those conversations that we don't see, Dak is having with him. And he's telling him right now, today, on the 30th of June, come on now, Michael, let's ride. I'm here with you. I got a chemistry with you. I don't have to worry about where you're going to be. I know where you're going to be. It's just a matter of finishing the play. So you can go with your piggyback question, but I think that's all up to Michael Gallup. It's not up to me. It's not up to you. It's not up to Dak. It's just about him finishing.
Yeah, my piggyback question. I'm gonna let you answer it, and then I'm gonna let you grab one too, Brent, because and I just wrote this down. It says, does CD Lamb help Michael Gallup add to his stats from last year or decrease his stats from last year? He had 1,080 yards. The CD Lamb take from, because the thing about Michael Gallup that everybody loved Michael Gallup last year is because he was hella value. You got a freaking, you got a 1,000-yard receiver for almost nothing because nobody really even knew about him. You know what I'm saying? So, Brent, go ahead. Either one of you guys, go ahead and shoot that. I want to know.
I got it. Here's the thing. Truthfully, it hurts him from a stat standpoint as far as number of plays he makes.
You would think, and this fantasy football is built on numbers.
Correct. But it helps him in the sense of the number of big plays he can potentially make. The reason why I say that is I think that the fresh legs and CD Lamb, I think that's an upgrade. And I'm going to go out and say it. He was my number one receiver, but I think that's an upgrade from Cobb. I do. I think it's an upgrade. I think it's fresh legs. I think he's got the same kind of fit in the offense, but with a more of a playmaking ability than Cobb. So if other coaches see it the same way that I do, that means that they got to bring in, more of a nickel, more of a dime, or somebody at least to cover CD. And when that happens, right, you still got to account for what's inside the box, meaning Zeke. So you got two choices. Do we play with an extra safety? Do we play with a nickel instead of a dime? So do we have 5, or do we cover, CD with a safety as a linebacker? Now, any of those choices that you make provides an opportunity on the outside for Michael Gallup. So he might not make as many catches that might hurt him from a yard standpoint, but he may actually get more touchdowns because of that. And that's just yet to be seen. That's my stance on it.
And you know what, Coach? Before I shoot it to you, Brent, that's when them drops come even more important now. Because now you're actually going to be dropping touchdowns and not first downs. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts, Brent?
That's what I was going to actually say, is that's the thing with Gallup. I think that he said it right the first time, was that, it really has nothing to do with the passes coming his way. It's got to do with him catching them. I mean, if you're gonna drop the ball you're not going to get the ball. I mean, that's just how it's going to go in this offense. You're either going to, in this offense, when you get an opportunity, if you don't go and get it, then you're just going to find yourself on the outside looking in, is what's going to happen, because it's too deep of a team to just be dropping the ball.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, so, we just hit the 51-minute mark for these last 10 minutes. I wanted to go ahead and answer a couple questions that was in the comment box real quick. And let me see this first question. Let me see the first one that I saw that was actually a really good fantasy one. Let me see. Was this one right here. And it says, it's from Landon. He says, what player in 2020 NFL team do y'all think is a real sleeper and going to have a biggest breakout season this season? Which is probably the number one question in every fantasy. So I'm going to give that go ahead, Brent. You answer first, and then, Coach, I'll let you get that last one. Go ahead.
The number one sleeper?
Or not even your number one sleeper. When I say sleeper on June 6th, what's the first name that comes? I'm gonna rephrase it better, because he trying to avoid getting a draft guide that you're going to draft next month. He trying to get the cake before cooking it first. You know what I'm saying? Nah, bro, you go have to ride a couple shows with us, man, because if we give you the name right now, you ain't going to watch no more shows. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I want you to do. When I say sleeper on June 6th, because it might change a month from now. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll find another sleep. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that dude didn't wake up. You know what I'm saying? Now this other guy didn't pop up. You know what I'm saying? Or this is a question I wanted to get to too. Maybe your sleeper get the corona and now it's moving. I'm just saying that's a realistic thing now. I actually have a question that I was actually gonna say. How will the corona affect fantasy football? Because you know what I'm saying? Does anybody? You want to talk about this? Can anybody? Before I answer his question, Landon, because I got you. I need 1 minute on that from each one of you. I don't think I'm gonna be doing this show a disservice if I don't ask you guys. Do you feel in 1 minute? Give me your best answer. Give me your best answer right now. How will Corona affect fantasy football in 2020, or will it or will it not? Go ahead.
Corona will. I mean, it definitely will. Here's the thing that I was doing a little article earlier on some of this, and I was thinking about this stuff, and it hit me. I was like, man, the rookies that are there this year, those same rookies are not going to have to face that, intense crowd unless things change. If things change and they allow fans, yeah. But if that doesn't happen, I mean, these rookies are going to pretty much just be in it's just an open field. It's like practice. I do think that you're going to see some rookies do better than they normally do their rookie season.
That's a good point. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, I got that name I can throw out there. I won't throw that out there yet, but I'll give you an example, right? You take somebody like Cleveland, right? Talk about their running backs they got there, right?
Yeah.
They got Chubb. You know who else they got, right?
Hunt. Field goal punt.
Hunt, right?
Punt.
So as an example, depending on, since we know that running back is very important in fantasy football, right? If you do have a committee group, this year, more than any other group or more than any other year, having two running backs on the same team can potentially really help you, whether it's trade bait or whether it's
Corona bait.
I hate Corona, yep, Corona or injury, because if you're quarantined for 14 days, you're definitely, if you're not in a bye week, you're missing 2 games.
You gonna miss
missing
3,
games.
coach, because you still got to pass a test to even come back.
Correct. So
And most of these guys
that's
aren't
bad.
passing it the first week, like the first 2 weeks. My auntie had it. She didn't pass the first time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She passed the
Right.
second time, but the second time was a month later because then they hit you with another 14. Real quick, coach, a lot of people was wondering, why didn't Zeke go and get tested again when he was said he was going to wait? The reason being is because Zeke they're leading us on to say that Zeke had corona, not that he has corona. So that's why Zeke now is under the mindset, I'm not getting tested until I know 110 for sure that I do not have it, because he does not want to get tested and it comes back he still has corona, because that's going to be totally different. So, like, think about that, and then also think about this. A guy who's 250 pounds or 330 pounds getting it versus someone who's $180. They sweat different. So just because, and in a lot of things, even with Zeke says, I feel good. So it's like you can't work out, you feel good. So then when you come back, coach, are you still that explosive guy? Oh, hamstring Joe. You can go bring up your hamstrings now. Because everything that I'm talking about right now is saying hamstrings. That's what I'm saying. That's what I feel.
And I hate to say it, but it sounds, I know it's a bad maybe parallel, but it sounds a lot of like the concussion.
Oh,
Like, he got symptoms. Well, does he have a concussion? Well, he's got symptoms. Well, I feel well, but you can't have symptoms. Well, I mean, and I'm all about player safety. So with concussion, symptoms obviously are an issue. But I'm with you. Like, you got to make sure that, for instance, if he's got the antibodies and he's had it and he's healthy, as long as he is not going to fail the test and going to be symptomatic, he's good to go. But we haven't been through this yet. We don't know how it's going to go during the year. So like you said, these other running backs or any position for that matter, hopefully it doesn't hit the quarterback position, but I'd be crazy not to think that.
Oh my God. If you,
right?
I'm going to tell you, the worst case,
Right?
like the corona is going to be like the 12th man on defense. Like, it's going to be like literally like every team is going to be playing defense. You know what I'm saying? At every position. Because you're going to be trying to fight the dudes on the field and you're going to be trying to fight the guys around. That's why I'm telling you guys, I'm a business where I sell tickets to games and I sell tailgates, and I'm telling you guys meet and greets. I'm telling y'all right now, I don't think any player is going to be meeting and greeting with nobody in 2020. Because why would you take a chance on Saturday knowing that you're going to get tested on Sunday before you play? The corona test is about to be the new weed test. But they just going to put, hey, bro, come here. Yeah, you. Yeah, I seen you. I seen how you looked at me. Come pee in a cup real quick randomly. That's what's going to be the corona test.
You know what else? And I always think outside the box. And Brent, I want you to comment about this, right? Or give me something. And I'm throwing it out there. I think outside the box because I am analytical and I am detailed. You want to get good at fantasy football right now, and I'm going to tell you why. So don't laugh at me at first. Study practice rosters. Study practice rosters. Because if you understand how it works, I can sign anybody off somebody's practice roster as long as I am going to put them on the 53-man active roster. Yeah. So something happens with corona, right? It happens to a running back, right? And I know my practice rosters because those practice rosters are going to expand. I called that before, T. We talked about it. Yeah. They expanded those practice rosters.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, especially with a running back by committee, a John Doe from, I'll just use Dallas as an example. Something, God forbid, happened to Dallas. I don't care if it's the second, third running back. And now all of a sudden they sign Seattle's John Doe. He's playing. He's getting touches.
Yeah.
Because if they signed him off that roster, they put him on the 53. So if they put him on the 53 and it was your number 2 running back or somebody that's out, he's going to get some time. So I think it opens up a whole new ball game, man, with practice rosters. And of course, like you just said, missing 2 to 3 games. And now he's got symptoms. Those practice rosters, we're going to see them come into effect, man, where people were going to play coming right off of those. Where before, they weren't. I'm not saying they weren't important. They just weren't 100%. They weren't important in fantasy, and they were just not as deep or as valuable as they are today.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I also see them doing with the NFL too is like giving each team like a zero man. And that's basically like, what's the one position that could just derail a whole team? You could be the best team in the NFL, the Chiefs undefeated, you're 16-0. What's the one position I can hit with Corona right now that will derail the whole team and is also not beneficial for the NFL? The quarterback position.
Yep.
So
that's why you might be carrying 3 instead
exactly.
Right?
That's where I was going. That's exactly where I was going. Like, I almost feel like the NFL might need to do that. And you might be, find a way to get Kaepernick back in the league too, because you're going to need 32 more quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they could almost do something where they could give each team like a zero quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And it's basically like a quarterback who is assigned to your team, but they don't actually come there, and they're not coming in to be your starter. They're coming in to be the backup for your starter, because your backup's going to be your starter. You get what I mean? Because, that's it all bumps up. Because that's the one thing, like a team like the Cowboys, like, I'm going to tell y'all right now, Dak can't go out, man. Like, I'm telling you right now, Dak, I don't want to see when the season starts. No, none of this, bro, because we are not in a position to lose Dak to no Corona. Our season is over. Like, I'm not saying, they say, oh, we got Andy Dalton, but if Andy Dalton does what he did last year, that's not a Dak, that's another, I mean, we could talk about it on another show, but I hate that our backup quarterback doesn't mimic our starting quarterback. I think that's like the wrong premise. I think your starting quarterback should always be your good, and I think your backup quarterback should look just like your starter. He's just not as good as your starter. But I feel like Andy Dalton comes in, man. Like, I feel like we're going to be a totally different offense because he's a totally different quarterback than Dak Prescott. So for me, like, and then I also know, Coach, you know this, in an NFL season, in practice, man, a starting quarterback's getting 80% of the snaps. Like, your backup quarterback's going to get, if they do 60 reps in a practice, Dak's going to get 50 easily. Because they can't practice all day like that anymore. Like, everything is regulated. They just can't be out there all day and just throw passes. It's not like that. Your second string quarterback's getting like 10 to 15. That's why most backup quarterbacks, unless they were a former starter, when they're ready to play, they're not good. They're not good. So that's why I think you can, like, the wide receiver, you got to carry 5 anyway. You know what I'm saying? Running back on a team, you're going to carry 2 running backs, so you got to have your backup. You're going to carry a couple more. Defensive tackles, the only position that I think that any team, no matter how you good, man, if Drew Brees get the Rona, man, the Saints are a different team. Kansas City, if Patrick Mahomes gets the Rona, they are a different team, bruh. They're a different team. So it's like them backup quarterbacks is, that's something too. But hey, man, we've been on here an hour, and I purposely talked over an hour so they didn't have to reveal you guys their top sleeper. Why? Because we ain't about to tell you we love you. We just went out like, I just met you. Tell you mean? Like, it's not how it work. Maybe on the second date. Yeah, come on, man. You can't be like that. Like, come on, man. They already want us to tell them they love us and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We gonna buy dinner. We will buy the dinner, though, because we gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about the Redskins fan. He may make you go Dutch. Bring your card if you go with Coach. That's all I'm going to say. But, hey, these Cowboy fans, we got you, man. But, hey, we've been on here for an hour, man. I want to let these guys know I appreciate them for coming on. Brent, let them know where they can find you at, man, on your regulatory stuff. And then, Coach, man, close us out.
Yeah, it's on Instagram at Fantasy Football Grinder, and then Facebook is the same thing and YouTube. It's all 3 the same at Fantasy Football Grinder, and then on Twitter it's at the FF Grinder.
Absolutely, Coach. Where you at?
Appreciate all you fans coming out, and of course, good to be on with you, Brent. And as always, West Coast. But for the people out there, follow me on Twitter at Coach Higgs 12. And then, of course, on my Instagram as well as Facebook, I have at Coach Higgs Training. And, of course, my regular page is Jeff Higgins, because I do have a real first name, and it's Jeff. So
yeah. Hey, Coach, I have an art with you too, man. I have an art with you. I have an ought. And the Bible says if you have an ought with your brother, you're supposed to bring it to him, and I'm going to bring it to you right now. Man, you always do shows, and it's cool. You be sitting there, with, looking all nice in your shirt. But then you be going to these really, really cool events, and you don't ever go live. Like, what's up with that, bro? Like, what's up, man? Like what's up? Like for real. You don't think we want to see these events? Like, you send me pictures after the fact of the dope events. Like, my sons play football. Like, you don't think I want to see that? You don't think the world wants to see that? Like, what's up,
First
coach?
off, man,
What's up
I'm
with
all
that,
for
coach?
kids, I'm all for the parents, and I'm all for people. But at the same time, I'm just not that flashy guy, man. I just want to produce, bro. I just want to like make things happen. It's kind of like you're out there, right? And you can say you're the best, but it doesn't really matter unless someone else says you're the best. I feel like if I'm,
We gotta see it. But we gotta see it though.
I guess you're right. What you want to see then, brother?
I want to see anything that got to do with youth football with trophies as big as the ones they was giving out at that event you went to. I need to be a part of that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I tell you what. On a side note, I was at that national 7-on-7 championship in the whole country, and with my boy BJ Hall, former professional quarterback that I coached. He asked me to come out there and coach with all the top recruits in the nation. It was great. So next time I head out there, because they always ask me to come out there, do some mentoring of young kids and do some coaching, I'll go live. I'll get it on there, and we'll show people what's going on.
Yeah, man. Hey, can I ask you a question before you let? How are they handling the corona? Like, how are they handling? Were there fans in the stands, or how was that?
If I be real with you, I don't think they were handling it with as much detail as I would like to see. But I think that it was handled where it was a way to get out there and continue to compete and try to be safe. But I just think kind of like one of those things where you lose some of that luster and you forget some details. I think we did that.
Okay.
And when I say we, because I was a part of it, because I think that as a leader, man, you should step up and make your point known. But at the same time, I think it was good to get out there and see, and we're just going through this thing. I don't want to point the finger at anybody and say, because really we don't really know, man. We don't know. We're going to come across these hurdles, but in all, we got to stick together. And when we make mistakes, just like on the field, when you make a mistake one time, it's a mistake. You do it again, it's a decision. And I think there is a difference. So as we figure this all out together as a country, as a unity, and even, with the terrible things that have happened recently, let's make good decisions. Let's not make mistakes. There's the difference. I don't want to make a choice, right? I want to make a good decision. So once you make a mistake, you do it again. It's a choice. I don't want to make bad choices. So if it goes well, we'll be on the ups, and I'm just going to try to have a positive outlook on it and just try to keep coaching.
Do I have a witness here? And I really don't know what you're going through this morning.
I know everybody feels good now, right? I know everybody feels good, but I'm going to tell y'all, man, after Coach said that, we just opened up a whole nother show. Because if they out there messing it up, I know the NFL about to mess it up because they about to drop 50,000 people in there. And guess what? They're not going to have they're not going to hire these brand new employees. They're going to have the same employees that look at West Coast every game and ask me for my ticket and be like, bro, you just saw me here last week. Like, I'm going through the exact same Miller Lite door. I know West Coast, but I need them same people that mess up and do them same. It's just not going to happen, man. It's not going to happen. Stay at the crib. Yeah, stay in the house. Stay safe. You already know what it is, man. Never look down.